Did you know that in 1980s Romania you could legit get in trouble for owning a toaster or wearing certain hairstyles? These are seven weirdest laws that existed in Romanian communism. I mean, I didn't even know most of these until I did my research and went through history classes, but damn. It's given North Korea in Europe back then. Okay, so let's go. First of all, food and shopping restrictions. So this one I've personally heard from one of my parents. I mean, there were some things you couldn't find in the country back then, and maybe you had like a number of things, yeah, in the markets, in shopping places, and before you know it, they're gone if you didn't hurry fast enough to get them. So basically, there wasn't enough food to go around. Meat was sanctioned, and some cities were out of basic items for months. Okay. Secondly, fashion hairstyles. Now, for what a lot of people say, for what I've heard around, back in school, back in school, you had specific hairstyles. I mean, in some schools they still exist, maybe in elementary school, but this one is in general. Like this one was in general, and be it middle school, elementary school. Like yo, I was in middle school here, and I was wearing braids, man. I was wearing different colors of braids. No one sanctioned me. No one sanctioned anybody. No one really cared. But back then, maybe I would have gone to prison. I mean, I'm kidding, but you never know. Anyways, a lot of these hairstyles were considered Western, and for what I researched, men with long hair could get pulled over by the police. Could just get stopped, man. But pretty messed up. I mean, if you're a dude with long hair right now, you should be thankful that you weren't in that era. Third of all, owning appliances. I mean, back then, you couldn't own basic stuff like a toaster, TV, washing machine. I mean, families had TV. I think there was a time when Ceausescu was giving TVs and appliances to each family. But before color TV came to Romania, they had to beg. And Ceausescu was like, aren't y'all satisfied that first we gave y'all TVs first and you're asking for color TV? Yeah, there was a lot of wait, and families would queue up for years just to get basic appliances like this. Another one, censorship and entertainment. So, some movies, especially international movies, were illegal. Music, illegal. I mean, from other countries. And so were some books. So, it was mainly just kind of like North Korea, yeah, like you couldn't watch much from other countries and they were just seen as illegal. For example, Beatles, they weren't allowed in Romania. Fifth of all, and I think this one still low key exists, just not as much as before, or just not as strict. This one is control of private property, especially apartments, and really just houses in the cities. I mean, so there is this law that if you live in the city, at least in my city, you cannot like change much. If you want to renovate it, like the outside of it, you got to keep it the same. Especially those buildings in the center, they can't be demolished no matter how old they are, because now it's seen as some sort of historical artifact. But yeah, so back then every individual was given an apartment if they worked, and almost everybody had jobs. I guess there was some control there. I don't really know, but for what I heard as of then, if you had like a child They give like maybe an apartment with certain amount of rooms, and the more children you have, the more rooms they were gonna give. Kind of generous, I guess. But you couldn't just have anything and everything, because I believe you couldn't have more than one apartment as of then, or maybe cars, stuff like that. And this one was another one, travel restrictions. This one I think was is back then is one of the most popular weird rule. You couldn't leave the country easily. I mean, people who got a chance to leave the country were those who maybe worked with maybe the government, or like um some sort of travel kind of job. Like for instance, you have naval engineers, like people, maybe the navy, maybe pilots, but usually for some sort of official duty. Like you couldn't just travel for your own pleasure, unless you're maybe, I mean, if you're a citizen from another country, that's a different story. There were some people who came during the communism, like those like foreigners. They were able to go back to their country. But for Romanians, their passports were often denied, and it was really difficult to just go to another country for tourism to enjoy yourself. It was mainly for work duties, which was also rare as of then. Seven, and the last one, surveillance and reporting. Your whole your moves were monitored as of then. Now, you couldn't say just anything about politics, about anything. As of then, even in schools, it was really strict. Like, you couldn't be disrespectful. You couldn't be disrespectful, especially to Ceausescu. Okay? You couldn't complain about food. You couldn't complain about TV. You couldn't complain about the politics, about the government, nothing. There was basically, maybe it was in the constitution then, I don't remember, but there was basically no rights to personal opinion, in my opinion, as of then. Okay, so yeah. So in all of this, I've seen a lot of people who liked his rule, Ceausescu's rule, saying he was a great dictator, saying that Romania is the way it is because of him, and so many more. Well, do I really have an opinion on this? Personally, yeah. A lot of people, contrary to the other one's beliefs, is that they did not like his leadership. No freedom, limited rights to opinions, um, so many stuff, which, be for real, no one would really want. Okay, he's basically like living in North Korea. Personally, I wouldn't like that rule, because even the last speech he gave before he died, he was like saying something about independence. What independence? What independence was he talking about? You feel me? um yeah, so I've met people who lived through that time, and the harsh reality and truth about life is that you never know a situation if you haven't lived through it. People who benefited from his regime are people who are like, I miss that era so much, or people who were children as of then, because, be for real, I mean, for children, you live in you get used to whatever you live with, but if you didn't actually suffer or feel the suffering as a child, you would just assume that all was great. You missed that time, because lots of us really just miss our childhoods. And yeah, so this isn't to go against anyone's beliefs on whether they liked him or not, but I'm just saying the facts and what really happened that time. Is up to you if he was good to you, if you enjoyed his era, if you would have liked his era, if you've read history books and you really appreciated what he's done. I mean, in return, he cleared the debts in Romania, and these apartments were sort of a way of modernization. Just that since then, not much has moved forward apart from more freedom, rights, and so on. So, yeah, tell me what you think in the comments, and if anything I said here was wrong, maybe correct me. Yeah, bye.